Got a repair job to do on my 97 Detroit diesel. Let's see here. It's going to be replacing this, what they call a auxiliary drive gear or pulley, and it has a gear that goes into the timing gears, and then on the outside it's just a pulley that turns the alternator belt and the air conditioner belt. And I have not been checking it for any reason because I've got 1.5 million miles. That's the original part, and I just never guessed that I needed to be checking it for any reason. Anyway, when I turn the air conditioner on, I've been hearing a new noise out here under the hood, and I looked at it yesterday when I was at work. Raised the hood up when I was parked, and I saw the pulley here was kind of moving in and out a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit, but I could hear the noise coming from over here, and the belt was really jumping around. Well, the belt is fairly tight. When I pull on it, it could use a little tightening, but it doesn't need much. It doesn't need any for the air conditioner because it wraps almost completely around the air conditioner, but the alternator, it's really not on there a whole lot. So it needs to be kind of tight because of how much contact it has with the alternator pulley. Anyway, I ordered this part. Freightliner says they'll have it in this morning, so I'm going to take it off. I'm going to do a two-part video because this is also where you check. It's the easiest place to pull off a gear out here and then check inside to find out how your bull gear is doing. If you have a Detroit, you got a bull gear. A bull gear is like a large idler gear in the center of all of your gear, your timing gear in there. You got your timing gears for your camshaft. Then you got the big bull gear in the middle. You have a couple idle gears up on top. And you've got the accessory drive gear that runs off the bull gear. You've got your crank gear on the bottom that turns the bull gear. And then on the other side we got the air compressor and the power steering. All of those run off of that bull gear. So the bull gear needs to be checked for bearing play every once in a while. And after you get 500,000 miles, it's probably a good idea to check it once every couple of years and see where you're at. And I'll show how to do that on this video. Okay, we shouldn't have that in and out play like that. About 1/8 of an inch it looks like. And one more thing, I've got oil coming out of there, but the oil is not really running down the front of the motor. I got oil leaking out of the motor in different places, but not a lot. Nothing leaving puddles or anything like that. It just collects dirt. So there's a little bit of a stream, a little darkness, oil stain down here, slight, but here's where the oil is, directly across from that pulley right here on this radiator pipe and inside the frame. You can see this is oil stain here from the frame. Well, that's because the oil is leaking out inside the pulley, and the pulley is slinging it out, and it's going here on this. And I just touched the pipe a while ago and got my hand full of it on the inside of the pipe right here. So that is what's going on. When I saw that, I got kind of alarmed and realized that could fall apart, and I don't know if that gear could fall off of there and tear up my timing gears. That would be one huge major expense. So let's go on ahead and pull that off. No biggie. It's a real easy part to pull off. We just pulled the alternator belt loose and then take these bolts out of here. No gasket to worry about. It's got an O-ring. So let's go on ahead. Actually, I'm not even sure I'm even going to do that part on video, because it's just too self-explanatory. If you can't figure that out, you got no business working on your truck. So that's what I'm going to do, is go on ahead and just take those bolts out and get this thing ready to replace. I cracked loose the bolts that are keeping the belt on. Spun this one on my threaded rod adjuster for the alternator. Loosen this one a little bit so it'll pivot, and the same thing up here. Push that in. Now I can get the belt off of there and go on ahead and take the this housing out with these bolts here. Looks like there's probably going to be 5 of them. I can see 3 on this side. I'll have to feel around the back side. They look small, look like 9/16. I got a wrench right here. Let's see. No, they're going to be a metric size. We'll see what they are. Got those bolts out of there. Let me see if we can pop this thing out without any trouble. I haven't tried yet. Just going to pry against the pulley. Can't pry against itself. I got to pry against this thing up here. There she goes. I need a smaller screwdriver to get in here. There we go. We're getting in there. I got to get a smaller screwdriver and a hammer and tap it in from the back side. Just have to work it back and forth a little bit, and I got it out. It's falling out, so I turned the camera back on to show what it looks like coming out of there. It's not very heavy. I don't know, 10 pounds, 15 maybe. But the bearing is obviously shot in there, and it does have a couple of holes in it, a top and a bottom hole in the mount. I need to find out if there's how the oil works on that. I need to find out about that. I think the oil is going to go in the top and come out the bottom. It's going to be my guess that the oil will go in this one and come out of this one. I'm hoping. Or maybe it only goes in one way. I'll have to measure between these holes and see. That is the bull gear. And what we got to do is find out, is there any measurable side play by sticking a pry bar in here in the front and pushing the gear backwards. It's not moving. Put the gear or the bar in the back, push it forward. Still not moving. And what I'm looking at to make sure is, in this particular case, right here in front of my finger is the smallest little gap I see between the gear case and the gear is a very small gap, less than 1/8 of an inch. And I was just watching in between that. There's a bigger gap up here. We won't see as much of a difference if there is any. Down here is where I could see the most in my case. And no gear play. This gear was replaced a few years ago. I was still over the road then. It's before I went local and long before I started doing videos. So it doesn't have that many miles. I don't know. It might have 300,000 or so miles on it. I don't know. I was a little over 1 million miles when I did it. I got 1.5 million now. So I'm not sure if I had 1,200,000 or whatever I had on it at the time. Anyway, that's how you check the bull gear. By the way, you can also check the bull gear through the air compressor housing on the other side of the truck. You can check it through this. I had to take the air compressor off and replace it one time, and I was able to get to the bull gear from there and check it. Well, back here to the to this thing here. I just talked to the dealer and they said that it comes with the pulley, that I don't have to take that off, but they do want the core back. So I'll give them that. And this only does go on one way. I checked, I tried to put it on wrong to see how it would go, and the bolt holes immediately were not lining up. So it only goes on one way. I don't think you can screw up putting it on and get all your bolts in. So much for that. I'm back with the new part. That's what I paid for it, $862.81 for a $10 bearing and a $2 seal. But they don't offer a seal kit for it. Anyway, here's the new one here, or remanufactured. They put the bearing and seal in it and charged an arm and a leg for that. So I did get the part number, and I went online when I got home with this to see what I could have gotten it for. If I wanted to wait a few days for it to get here, I could have gotten it for $531. Seems to be the cheaper price that I'm finding at a couple of websites. So did not find it at Amazon.com, did not find it at Walmart.com. Sometimes they have those parts. Anyway, time to put it on, and then I gotta go to work. I gotta work a couple of days for free to pay for this. So you just gotta put the rubber O-ring on right there, wipe a little grease or oil all the way around it, put the thing in place and put the bolts in it, put the alternator belt back on, and it'll be done. I forgot to show before I put that on that, but I did mention it earlier on the old part. The big oil hole goes on top, and then all the bolt holes will line up. So it's got two oil holes. One, the bottom one's smaller. Anyway, you get a screw started. You put the gear on there, and if you have to turn this a little bit to get these ears to line up with a bolt hole, then you're not going to turn the gear inside, so you'll have to turn the housing on the pulley out here. So anyway, naturally you don't want to tighten these bolts down one at a time. You want to go all the way around and just snug them up a little at a time in a circular fashion. Let's see if I can do that here with one hand. At least 3 of them going around the circle. a little at a time until the whole thing is down.